The first note here is the 1.5 million new homes in 10 years. That is about double the historical units. The change here is actually the difference is that the province now permits secondary suites, adding another housing units. The taxpayers are paying for this, not the region or the province. So if this is a goal that is managed, I added a secondary suite to my home. I paid for it. And then MPAC came and taxed me right away. They came and reassessed my property. They increased my taxes for adding the secondary suite. So the second thing I see here is amending the Plan Act, limiting exclusionary zoning. I'm pretty much against everything that I see here. I see everything being shifted to the taxpayer, what they're asking for here. These are all just shift to the taxpayer, right down to number 7, number 8 as of right zoning. Number 10 doesn't even qualify. We're not in Toronto. So Waterloo region not being in Toronto, parking requirements should be abolished. Everything that I see here, some of these recommendations really raise very questionable and bizarre recommendations. I don't see that local interests are being represented here. Preventing abuse of the heritage preservation and designation process, number 16. Prohibiting reactive heritage designations after a Plan Act development application. These are the local decisions, and I find these recommendations very bizarre. Let's move to the next page, please. It's number 17, requiring municipalities to compensate property owners for loss of property value. I can't even wrap my mind around this. This is the taxpayers' money. So the province has come now, this idea of compensating property owners. I don't understand this strategy at all. Inefficiencies of the appeal process, this is correct. We should abolish all tribunals. Funding and creation of the approvals facilitator with the authority to resolve conflicts between the municipality and the province. Again, I don't understand what this gloves coming at our municipality is about. I don't think they know anything about our housing to be coming and putting their fingers in our business here. The red tape needs to be rolled back to 1967, page 16. That in 1966, how easy it was to build things. This is true. I agree that we should go back to 1967. We have way too much red tape in the way. Allowing wood construction. Will it be Canadian wood? Because we've been using Brazilian wood during COVID, which is like sand to the desert. That's a question I have here. And the other issue, number 26, the issue of the tribunals and the tribunal relying on evidence. Well, there's a contradiction. Tribunals do not rely on evidence. So I guess evidence can be used when they want it for their purpose or when they don't want it for their purpose. Tribunals don't rely on evidence. Prevent abuse of process. No kidding. I agree with this. Tribunals are not the forum for housing. We should be using courts. $10,000 filing fee for third-party appeals, a raise from $400. Indeed. What's this about? Who does this benefit? I'm not sure. But the very questionable recommendations. Encouraging greater use of oral decisions to allow the tribunal to award punitive damages. The existing backlog, number 31, there's if you follow Tribunal Watch, there's good reason for this. So if you don't appoint adjudicators, you're probably going to have a backlog. So we should start with appointing adjudicators. If we appoint adjudicators and don't leave positions vacant, that will definitely help with that. Waiving development fees, waiving cash in lieu of, waiving, prohibiting interest rates on development charges. I don't know this is all going to benefit. It's not benefiting us. Prohibiting interest rates on development charges, none of their business. Regarding cash in lieu of parkland and these charges, the provincial review of reserve funds. I'm going to mention something here. This number 35 here of not allowing further collection, aligning property taxes, moving our clawbacks. One thing I'd like to mention here that Ontario in the late 1990s was the only province to download housing responsibility to municipalities. What they didn't download was the money. So they kept the land transfer tax, kept the capital gains tax, kept new homes sales tax, but they downloaded all housing responsibilities to the municipalities, and they were the only province to do that. So one of the issues I have here is MPAC reassessing taxpayers when they add housing units, like I was. And also there was a comment about depoliticizing the housing process. I agree with this. When it comes to depoliticization, I think one of the things that shouldn't be done is a task force. When we're given appointments to a task force like this, the former PC leader shouldn't be on this task force. I think that there's lots of people in Ontario that could have been on this task force. There's 90,000 of us realtors. Maybe a realtor could have been asked to have been on this task force. But I don't think the PC leader should have been on this task force.